So this first one, in my first hour, I had so many kids have trouble with this. It's a review day, and yet that first one, which is supposed to be an easy one, was a hard one for a lot of people because one, sometimes people thought it was multiply. Does it say multiply? No, it says add. Second, this negative here. People see it and they go, oh, the negative's just on the 3 here. No, that negative gets distributed to all of them. So even with that warning, a ton of kids made that mistake. So watch out for that negative. And then last but not least, you got to put it in order. The biggest term first. That's not the biggest term. You can still multiply that out, but just don't put it first in the answer. I don't mean multiply, sorry. Whoa. I'd say you could put that away and mute. All right, thank you. All right, so this and this go together. No, they don't. There's nothing that goes with the x to the fifth. So it's there, but it's just not first. So negative 2x to the fifth is in the answer, but it's not first. There's something else that goes here. Okay, give this a shot. Take it seriously. Should be done in the next 1 minute. I'll pause while you give that a shot. So our next term is these two, and it is plus 3. Oh, wait, we should put it in front. 3x to the 7. Okay, what comes after that? Would you take it over next? What comes after the 2x to the 5th? It'd be these guys. Oh, wait, it's not a highlighter. Hold on. Yep, but be careful. There's a trick in here. Yes, the negative in front makes the 8 positive. Good. So now put the negative 4x with the positive 8x. What do you get? Yep, plus 4x. All right, and then there's a number at the end. Elijah, what do you get at the end? Negative 11. I got a 13 last hour from that. Some people thought it was 13. Again, they missed this negative in the front. And they think that it's positive 12 and positive 1 makes 13. But it's a negative 12, so nice job. This is the answer in what's called standard form. All right, also was shocked at how many people had trouble on this one. Would you please multiply this all the way out? I know, often we only need the lead term. But this time, and for one of your homework questions on the test, you're going to have to multiply it all the way out. There's 6 parts to the answer. While you're doing this problem, I'm going to draw out the 6 parts. I like to call this the giant clam technique. Because to me, that kind of looks like a giant clam, even with the slightly like the edges of the clam that's all shut, like it's a shut clamshell. And my son does scuba diving in Japan. And they always bring a knife with them, a dive knife. Because if you are scuba diving and you get tangled up in a rope down in like a shipwreck or something, do you get how that can be really bad? You've got a tank of air, but do you get it won't last forever? So if you got tangled up in a rope and you couldn't get out of it, if you were stuck, that could be really bad. You could drown down there. Another thing that could be really bad, sticking your hand in a giant clam. And then it shuts. As soon as it senses that there's something there, it shuts out of instinct to like preserve itself. And so then it seems like, well, okay, fine. It's not gonna like snap your hand off. It just might hurt a little bit. But the problem is they're cemented to the ocean floor. Like they're on coral. And so it's just like cement. So now your hand is cemented to the ocean floor. Which again, while you still got your tank, isn't that scary. But as soon as your tank runs out, it's extremely scary. So that's where you'd take out your dive knife and you'd hope to either try to cut into the clam. What's more likely to work is to try to pry it off the bottom of the ocean and get that thing pried up so that you can get that clam off the ocean floor so you can swim it up to the surface and get in the boat and then, you know, deal with getting the clam off your hand. So bottom line, it's very tempting because they look really cool inside. And people want to be like, ooh, I'm going to touch in there. And then they touch, it shuts. More than one person has died from that. Okay, let's do this one. I'm going to get different people to do different parts, so pay attention. Noah, would you please start? Did you do the 5x first, or did you do the -2 first? All right, 5x. Tell me what you got when you did the 5x. I'll make it black. 5x times the x to the third. Nice. Now, at the beginning of this, you don't worry about putting in order, because you really ought to reshuffle them at the end and put them in the right order. All right. Luis, what comes next? Nice. So 5x times the 8x to squared makes 40. And is it positive? Yeah, positive 40x to the third. Nice job. All right. Ava, the next one. 5x times the 4. 20x. Now, watch as I do this next level. As I do this next level, Jordan, take the -2. Now watch where I put it. Right by the other x to the third. Do you get what I mean? You don't have to do it that way. It's just smart, because then you'll be able to like find them so that you can put them together. Okay, Ibrahim, the -2 times the 8x squared. Very close. -16x. Wait a minute. No, actually, you were right. It is squared. I was thinking there was an x on the 2. Nice job. -16x squared. Okay, and then the last one. Vukovic. -8. Now, the only thing that could go together was those two that I put next to each other. But this one's out of order because the x squared should be further up in the line. Okay, so now get a final answer. Let's see. Oh, let's see if he's got it right. He says it's 5x to the 4th plus 38x to the 3rd. And then he moved his -16x squared up to the next spot, and he was right. And then plus 20x, and then -8. That is it. That is called standard form. Now, what can we get from standard form? Lead term, lead coefficient, degree, what it does on the right and what it does on the left. That's 5 things. That's kind of impressive. Yes, sir. You are correct. Normally we do that when it's factored form, but you're right. You're right. If I put y equals in front of this whole thing, then yeah, I could do that. If I put y equals in front, then I could know y equals, and I can do that. The y-intercept is where x is what? 0. And so you put a 0 into all the x's, and then all you get left with is y equals -8. That's the y-intercept where x is 0. Okay, so let's do those 5 things. We'll do them on the next page because they actually ask them right here. So let's just do it in this problem. First, you got to rearrange it though. It's pretty obviously not in standard form. For this one, I'm going to call on an online kid. Just fair warning, if I catch you with the cell phone out during this time, I'll be asking you to set it up on the front ledge to cool off for the rest of the hour because you've already had your reminder. All right, Annabelle, can you tell me what's the first term supposed to be in this?
-4x to the 6th.
How did you pick that to be first?
Because the 6 is the largest number.
Very good. Largest exponent. Connor Ryan, what's next?
Next,
After the -4x to the 6th, what's next?
then it'd be the positive 5x to the 5th.
Yep, and then what's next?
Then the positive x.
And then what's next?
-8.
You got it. Okay, Catherine Ryle, what's the lead term?
The lead term is negative 4x to the 6.
Nice. Sam Bender, what is the degree?
6.
Yep. What's the leading coefficient, Sam?
-4.
And does that tell you first the right end or first the left end? What is smarter to do first?
Right.
Very good. And is the right end up or down?
Down.
Because that -4 tells you negative is down. Very nice. Now we got to decide the other side. Gus, how do we tell about the left end? Since this is even, does that tell you it should be the same or different? Even means same. So same as down, so down. How many of you feel like that's something you can handle and will be a point for you on the test? All right, good. A lot of people said yes. People online didn't seem to respond, but that's all right. Next time, just raise your virtual hand when I say something like that. You actually feel like you can handle it. All right, this one, we got to identify this, this, and this. No, we don't. Something's wrong. I'm making a classic mistake right now by thinking it's this, this, and this. Yes, these exponents that are outside the parentheses, include those. And then tell me the lead term. Notice, I don't need you to multiply this all the way out. It would take you seriously a half hour. So just be ready to answer what's the leading term, what's the degree, etc. So Ibrahim, you're going to be up first. What's the x to the third to the second? This part right here, what does that make? X to the what? It's either x to the fifth or it's x to the sixth. And I'm going to give you a hint. I'm going to write it this way. This simplifies it as much as I can. Now that means times itself. X to the third times itself. So that's x to the sixth. Good. So that's x to the sixth. Then what's the next part? Vukovic. The next part's the easy part. What is it? This part here. Just bringing this down.
5x.
Yep, just 5x. And then the last part. You can do it, Vukovic.
Oh, so okay. Maybe x to the third.
Yes. And then you put them all together. Ibrahim. You can do this. There's only one number, a 5 and a couple ones. So it's 5x plus this one, 10. 5x to the 10. RC, that's the lead term. What's the degree? Yep. What is the leading coefficient, Sinekin?
5.
And should that tell you the left end or the right end?
Right.
Yep, the 5 tells you the right end, and it is what, down or up? Because why?
Because there's no negative in front of it.
Yep. If it's positive, then it's a happy ending at the end. It goes up. Okay, Linus, left end.
Left end is also up because the degree is even.
Because this is even. That's even. Even means same. And that means these have to be the same. Cool. All right, when we get to the hard part, you've got to the hard part, the graphing. Okay? So the first thing you would do is still find out the lead term. But at least on the graphing ones, we don't make the lead term too brutal. There's just 3 little things there. Seneca, what do you think the lead term is here?
Negative 2x to the third.
Yep. Okay. What does that tell you? A lot of things. It tells you the right end, tells you the left end. But it doesn't tell me the y-intercept. And it doesn't tell me the x-intercepts. There's 2 easy x-intercepts and 1 hard one. Jordan, would you tell me the 2 easy ones?
2 and negative 3.
X equals 2 for the first one, and x equals -3 for the second one. And Elijah, would you tell me how to find this third one? Some kind of equation happens. Yep. And then you just have to solve that. -2x equals 1, and then the final answer? Yep, -1/2. Very good. Okay, so here's -1/2. And here's 2. And here's -3. I graphed all three of them. Now, the y-intercept. Cole, finish this sentence for me. The y-intercept is where x. Good. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put in a 0 wherever the x is. And then it'll say y equals, well, if that's a 0 and that's a 0 and this whole thing is a 0 because I put a 0 right by it, then this is gone, and this is gone. Now remember, those are multiplies in there. So Cole, what do you think the final answer is?
6.
Yep. How come it wasn't -6?
-2 times 2 is -6. Times it by -1.
Yes. Now that was tricky. There's the y-intercept. I put a black dot there. Now, we have to draw our line through it. And to be able to do that, we got to know whether we start up or down. But always do the right side first. We're going to go with Annabelle. Right hand of this, is it going to be going down or up on the right?
Down.
Down on the right because of this negative here. Good job. So this is down. And then how about on the left? Fung?
It goes up.
All right. How do you know that?
Because the exponent is odd.
And if the exponent's odd, that forces it to be different than the other end, so it must be up. You are correct. And here's your final answer. Notice I went through everything, including the y-intercept. Okay? That is about as hard as it gets. So, you now have review time. This is really important. We're going to work on the worksheet together. Pause a moment and start the worksheet. So everybody find the worksheet. Okay, so here's our worksheet and the first problem of our worksheet. Rewrite it in standard form. Could you tell me what the first term should be? Oh, you're just getting it. You're really close, but I'll come back to you in a second. Could you tell me, Mrs. S? What's the first term supposed to be? The 11 power one? So what? 7x to the 11. RC, what should come after that?
6x.
Good. Luis, next.
The -2x.
I think you mean x to the 2. Negative x to the 2. Okay. And Jordan Helling. I've got the first three terms of my answer in number 1.
Oh,
-5x. And then what's the last thing? Yes, and there it is. From that, it's pretty easy to get the lead term. Ibrahim, what is the lead term? To the? Yep. 7x to the 11. Noah, what's the degree? All right. Then you multiply this one out. That is going to be the most painful one. I use what I call the giant clam technique. And just remember when you write that one out that you always have the powers, so the biggest power is first. Okay, so you have a bunch of work time today in class. And what's really, really critical is that you ask questions if you're stuck, because the test is next time we meet. It's not tomorrow because tomorrow's a Wednesday, it's a mass day, but the next day after that is the test. So if you're stuck, ask. Yes. Sure. Which problem?
So it's not on the homework, but like.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me just wrap this part up then for the video's sake and for the sake of the kids following along at home. I'm going to help a kid with an individual question off of a different assignment. So I'm going to stop the video here. That's your review for the test. Make sure to look at the key. There is a key posted. That's really, really smart. Do the problems, then check the key. And if you're not doing it right, fix it. Because, you know, the test will need you to do them right. So just doing it once wrong before the test is not a great prep.